Hey everybody, this is Steve at Spawn Performance, and we're going to give you a quick little video tour of our adjustable front track bar for the 1994 to 2002 Dodge Ram 4x4. This will fit the 94 to 01 1500 and the 94 to 02 2500 and 3500. Again, that's the Dodge Ram 4-wheel drive. First thing I'll show you here, we got the upper mounting brackets. You'll see we have two of them laying here. The one on the right is for stock ride height up to a 4-inch lift, and the one on the left is for a 4.5 to 8-inch lift. That's the only difference between our two kits, the upper mounting bracket. For the 4.5 to 8-inch lift, it has a bigger drop down just to keep the proper track bar geometry. And they're made out of CNC laser cut and form 1/4-inch steel. They're all solid MIG welded, and they come with a gloss black powder coated finish, which keeps them looking nice. That's a 100% bolt-in. So I'll go over some of the common questions that we get asked about that. A lot of people want to know, do I have to cut off my factory upper bracket? No, you do not. This mount slides right over top of your factory bracket. There's no cutting or welding. You do have to drill two holes. For right here, you have to drill these two holes that go through the frame rail, and other than that, it's 100% bolt in. This hole here, right here, that'll bolt fast to your factory bracket, and then there's another one back here. This upper tab, that bolts to an existing hole in the frame. So you have an existing hole in the frame you bolt to. You've got your factory bracket that you're bolting our bracket to, and then you got these two holes that you will have to drill two holes through the frame rail. And then you'll get all the hardware with, as you can see, everything's grade 8, flanged lock nuts, and then these are the two holes that go through the frame. The two holes I said you'll have to drill, and as you can see, we include Dlm Spacers that fit inside the frame. Keeps everything from, squeezing shut. That way you're clamping against the DOM tube. Keeps everything nice and rigid and strong. You can see here on the one bolt, we actually have this small bolt TIG welded onto the bolt head, and that's for your brake line. So I mean, literally 100% bolt in. We're even thinking of your brake lines here. Everything's just plug and play. Okay, and then we've got the track bar itself, which, as you can see, this one's bright red, and they're also available in gloss black, again, powder coated. The brackets come gloss black no matter what. It's just the bar itself that we gave the two color choices. And that's double adjustable. One end is this end here with the hex on the end. That's left-hand thread, and that goes to the driver's side, connecting to that upper bracket. And then the other end is right-hand thread, and that'll mount on the passenger side to your front axle mount. So that makes it double adjustable. You just unlock your jam nut on each end, put a wrench on the hex here on the bar, turn the bar, and you can make it longer or shorter. If you're lifted, you'll have to make the bar longer to center your front axle back up again. And then on the ends, we have our new Dlm pivot joints. We just came out with these. We've actually had Dlm pivot joints for many years, but we just came out with these that are made specifically for panhard bar and track bar applications, where they have a very narrow mount. They can go into a mount as narrow as 1 5/16 wide, still reach their full 22-degree rotation, and the housing will not bottom out against the mount, so you don't have any noise. And I have one laying here unassembled, just to kind of explain that to you for those who aren't familiar with it. A lot of people call them a pivot joint. We call it the Dlm pivot joint simply because the bushings inside of it are made out of Delrin. They're not polyurethane, they're Delrin, which is a little stiffer, self-lubricating, moisture doesn't affect it, and they pretty much last forever, so they don't wear out. And then of course the sphere is your ball. So basically it's a rod end, but it's like a spherical rod end, but the ball rides inside of the Dlm bushings. So it keeps it quiet. Okay, you can get a look up there. And you can see the ball rotates in there. And if the bushings ever would wear out, which like I said normally they don't, the joint is rebuildable simply by buying those 2 bushings, which are literally a couple bucks each. And then the housing itself is one-piece forged 4130 chromoly. Extremely strong. It'll hold up to just about anything. And you can see it's a one-piece forging, again 4130 chromoly. And then we come in and finish it with the CNC machining for the threads and for the ball. So basically you got your one-piece chromoly housing, you stick a flat washer in there, you stick a bushing in there, you drop your ball, you put your other bushing, another flat washer, and then there's a snap ring, which I'm not going to put in, but you get the idea. You would squeeze that snap ring. It's actually a press fit. You have to press down on the ball to get everything to compress in there so the snap ring will snap in. And once the snap ring is snapped in, it's an extremely tight fit. You know, the ball's not loose. It takes a lot of force to move it. It moves under load. And you can see, since this is loose, it's easy to show you how the ball just rotates in there. And the advantage to that is it gives you a smooth operating suspension. The track bar is free to articulate, it's free to move as needed, doesn't have any resistance or bind. And that's normally what wears out bushings. If you have a polyurethane bushing, for example, that's what tears them up and wears them out, because they're not free to move and they bind up, and then it's pulling and stretching on the bushing. Where with the pivot joints, it's just free to articulate. It's actually made to do that. So they're very strong, very smooth operating, and that is the main advantage to our track bar for the Dodge Ram. So now we'll go out in the shop. We've got a 2000 2500 up on the lift, and we'll show you what this thing looks like mounted on the truck. Alright, let's head out. Okay, so we're out here under the truck. It's actually a 2000 Dodge Ram 2500 that we're underneath here. And we're looking at the passenger side connection on the front axle housing. You can see the Dlm pivot joint, bolts fast right to the factory mount. Got a 45-degree grease fitting on there, makes it easy to lubricate that pivot joint right on the truck. Okay, and then this is a red powder coated track bar, so it'll make it a little easier to see it on this video. We're on a 4-post lift. Makes it a little dark under here, but we got a light on here, so hopefully you guys can see everything okay. So that bar runs up, and then we've got our bolt-in bracket right there, the black bracket. CNC laser cut 1/4-inch steel. And a common question we get asked, I want to cover in this video, is do I have to cut off the factory upper bracket on the driver's side? And the answer is no. You don't have to cut anything off. This bracket actually bolts right over top of the factory bracket. It's held in by 4 bolts, which I'm going to try to show you here. Okay, first bolt right there, that's an existing hole in the frame that you bolt right to the existing hole. The second bolt, let me see if I can get it to where you can see it right there. That's the factory bracket. Okay, so that's our bracket formed to fit right over the factory bracket, and you're using the existing hole in the factory bracket to bolt it fast. That's the second bolt. Okay, and then up here you see those 2 bolts. those are 2 holes you have to drill through the frame rail. So the only thing you have to do to install this track bar is drill those 2 holes through the frame rail. It's not difficult at all. We include sleeves that go inside the frame rail to reinforce the inside of it so it doesn't crush shut. And then of course you get all the grade 8 bolts and everything you need. So you got those 2 bolts that you have to drill the 2 holes through the frame rail. You've got a 3rd bolt right there that mounts to the factory upper bracket. And then you've got a 4th bolt that goes into an existing hole in the frame rail. As I said, all the grade 8 mounting hardware is included. And then of course our track bar bolts fast right here to that bracket with the other forged chrome moly Delsphere end. Again, we got a 45-degree grease fitting. Makes it easy to lube it right on the truck. Okay, and one final question that I get asked a lot that I wanted to cover in here is about the bar being straight. Is it going to clear the diff cover? And the answer is yes, because our bracket is located in front of the factory bracket. So it moves the track bar out further in front of the diff cover. And as you can see, plenty of clearance. So there's no issues there. Makes the track bar much stronger being straight than having a track bar with a bend in it. Whenever you have a bend in it, you're going to always have flex under load at that bend. So with a straight bar, it doesn't have to be as huge and as heavy, yet it's still much stronger. And that runs straight down again, mounts to the factory location over here on the passenger side. And of course the bar is free to rotate with our Delsphere ends. Though they will reach full rotation without bottoming out inside the brackets here. This will reach its full 20 degrees of rotation, 22 degrees I believe it is. Yet the housing is still not contacting the brackets, so you don't have any noise. Everything's nice and quiet. Free to rotate, no bind. That makes for a very smooth operating suspension. Again, the track bar is powder coated. The bar itself you can get bright red or gloss black. And then our upper bolt and bracket, they all come black, powder coated gloss black. Okay, and then it's double adjustable. This end of the bar is right hand threaded. The upper end of the bar is where you put the end with the hex. See these wrench flats that are machined onto this threaded end? That means it's left hand threaded. You want that at the upper connection. You just simply loosen your 2 jam nuts on each end. Put a wrench on this hex, turn the bar, and it will make it longer or shorter. You just drop a string down off each side, center your axle up right on the truck, on the ground, doesn't even have to be lifted. Once you're centered up, tighten your jam nuts up, put a little bit of Loctite on them. Red Loctite definitely to keep them tight, and then lock your jam nuts down and you're good to go. So that's all we have to cover in this video. If you have any questions, let us know. We're always here to answer them. www.spone.net. You can email us at sales@spone.net, or you can give us a call at 1-888-365-6064. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you out on the road. Thanks.